So, Ross Coulthart is saying that the paranormal is inextricably linked to the UFO phenomenon. This is wild. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of future videos. Join me on social media. Facebook and Twitter links are below. I would love to see you guys there. And of course, comment on the story as I'm going through it. Now, I talk a lot about the supernatural or the paranormal or the metaphysical, even the spiritual on this channel because it does seem to me, from my own personal experience as well as research, to be inexplicably tied with the UFO phenomenon. The UFO phenomenon, if you will, is almost, according to my research, almost a subset of a much greater phenomenon that I call the greater phenomenon. And, and tied up with all of that or composing that is ghosts and Bigfoot and also everything, near-death experiences, all the things that are out there that I believe are real and according to my research are real. They're all composing this one greater picture, and the UFO phenomenon is one part of that. Some parts of it may be nuts and bolts, maybe, tin cans with beings from another world. Totally possible. I think some of it probably is. But some of it doesn't seem to be. And it looks like Ross Coulthart in his own research is agreeing with that. So let's see what he has to say. This is kind of a long clip. I think it's over 3 minutes, but it's worth listening to the whole thing for. Here goes.
Look, frankly, I don't think an analysis of the phenomenon cannot include the paranormal, the sort of things we're talking about. I mean, you have Jay Stratton, the former head of the U.A.P. task force in the Pentagon, admitting that he was visited by some kind of dogman werewolf entity at his family home, that his family was basically harassed. This is the story told in Colm Kelleher and George Knapp's book, The Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. And whilst they use a pseudonym for Jay Stratton, Blind Freddy can see who it is. And I think he's just recently talked more about this at the AlienCon conference that happened in early March. And so you've got senior officials such as Jim Semivan, Jay Stratton, and others that I've spoken to, some of them whose names have not yet been made public, who have described to me bloody horrendous stuff that is paranormal. I mean, there's a guy I spoke to very early on in my research who is formerly very senior in the FBI, and he's never gone public. So the FBI is like America's federal police, if you like, and they're an incredibly powerful agency. And he's got secrecy clearances, and basically he describes something eerily similar to what Jim Semivan's described, some kind of hooded figure appearing in his bedroom. Now, I don't think any legitimate investigation of the phenomenon can avoid the fact that there are people, including reputable people, claiming that they've had these encounters. I wasn't there in their bedroom with them when these encounters occurred, so it makes it bloody hard to investigate. How can you verify? There's one person I've been talking to who claimed an abduction, and they said that they had a flatmate in the house who witnessed the fact that they were away from their bedroom after a huge flash of light. And I spent an enormous amount of time trying to find that former flatmate and verify that there was this absence from the home that was unexplained. And I just got absolutely nowhere, and I spent days on it, trying to search databases to try and find this person who I just could not for the life of me find. But I accept that there has to be, if we're going to talk about the phenomenon encompasses, yes, nuts and bolts, alleged craft. And I say alleged because I'm not entirely sure they are nuts and bolts craft. But it also includes paranormal phenomena. The claims of Skinwalker Ranch, werewolves, dogmen, portals, three-dimensional portals, weird magnetic anomalies. I mean, all of that has to be taken into account and considered. Is it real? I don't know if it is. But What I am sure of, and I'm increasingly sure of this, is that Jacques Vallée is right when he says that the least likely explanation for what we're talking about is the extraterrestrial hypothesis. I suspect whatever it is, if it's real, is intraterrestrial, that it's been here all along.
Isn't that incredible? So he is not only saying that it's supernatural or paranormal, but that it's always been here. Does the spiritual or paranormal predate humanity? That's a fascinating concept to consider. And it's entirely possible. There's many stories going around in the alien abduction circle that, many times when people have talked to the beings and recovered these memories later, they have been told that the beings created humanity. Now, unfortunately, the beings give differing accounts of that, so they are probably not all true, which means that most of them are lies, maybe all of them are lies, which is unfortunate with the phenomenon. The beings tell people a lot of stuff, and they don't all seem to be truthful, unfortunately. Studying this stuff and understanding the stuff would be so much easier if the beings were honest. But yes, the paranormal and even the spiritual are inextricably bound up with the UFO phenomenon. 1/3, almost, I think it's 30%, almost 1/3 of all alien abductees or contactees are near-death experiencers. People who have died, been to the other side, and come back. That's incredible. Many of these people come back with abilities or sensitivities or a spiritual connection that they did not have before. Is that what the beings are interested in? Who knows? From my own personal experience, I know that the metaphysical and the spiritual is bound up with the UFO phenomenon. I only have one real confirmed UFO event. It just happened for me a few months ago after years of researching this stuff. And multiple skywatches, UFO skywatches with the MUFON group that I co-founded. And didn't see any UFOs in those events, but I saw a UFO coming back from the Renaissance Festival a few months ago, or possibly multiple UFOs. It's hard to tell, but it's a whole story. I guess I could get into it very briefly. I was an atheist all my life until I started investigating UFOs, which led me directly to the metaphysical and the spiritual, and ultimately to the study of near-death experiences as well as alien abductions. And in both of those phenomena, Jesus comes up. Yeah, that's right. Aliens have told people, hey, you should study the teachings of Jesus. That was intriguing. I didn't know what to do with that. And then in my research in near-death experiences, Jesus came up a lot. Of course, right? So I began to wonder if he was in fact a real being. Being a lifelong atheist, this was kind of weird to me. So, and I didn't want to research Jesus with the Bible. I wanted to go outside of the dogma and the Christian canon to research this. So I read a couple of Dolores Cannon books about Jesus where people recall knowing Jesus in a past life. And I'm not going to go into all of that, but it's really intriguing. The vision of Jesus in those books is a very mystical vision tied up with aliens and Atlantis and crystal technology. It's really cool. It's a kind of a very new agey kind of way to look at it, but it really resonated with me. And at an ayahuasca ceremony recently, I think it was in October, I had a profound moment where I resonated very strongly with that vision of Jesus. So strongly, I almost expected him to appear. And I said, well, if you're there, maybe you can show yourself. Well, a month later, driving home from the Renaissance Festival with my wife, and a UFO makes the shape of the cross in the sky. I've talked about this before. I'm not going to go into a lot of details about any of this. I can go into more details in a separate video just talking about this. I probably already have at some point. Go check those out. So it made the shape of the cross in the sky. Now, was that a spiritual event, a metaphysical event? Was that a UFO, a nuts and bolts UFO interacting with my consciousness because I had Jesus on the brain and it was sending me the Christian cross? Possible. Totally possible. I don't think anything is off of the table, but I have had a series of metaphysical events happen for me since I have begun investigating all of this stuff. And it's been wonderful. It's been truly a magical time in my life. And I hope some of that happens for you guys if you want it to happen. And I encourage you to seek some of this, the positive aspects of this stuff out, like Reiki. Yeah, so it was an incredible experience. And in my mind, it is that UFO encounter was the just one of those metaphysical instances. It was just the latest in a long line of metaphysical events that I have experienced. And by the way, I take no credit for any of this. I am not any sort of guru or, anything like that. I don't have all the answers. So, I'm not coming at you like that. I'm just somebody that blundered into this and has had these experiences, and I'm very grateful to have had them. And I hope some of that happens for you guys if you want it to happen for you. But yes, all of my experiences, bar one, have been very positive. And in that one negative instance, which I have talked about before, I intentionally sought it out. I was ghost hunting. I did ghost hunting for a few years, and when you investigate haunted places, you're going to run into haunts. And I ran into a haunt and had a negative experience with one. And but barring that one instance, all of my experiences have been very positive. However, when Ross talks about the negative stuff, the Wolfman and the scary stuff, you can't discount that either. Although I don't know if I would really lump all of that in with the metaphysical as much as I would, the strangeness of Skinwalker Ranch and whatever is there, which is probably metaphysical in some part. Possibly there's a portal there or an entity protecting a portal. Who knows? But that does seem to be a specific set of phenomena, and I wouldn't generalize the greater phenomenon by coloring it through the lens of Skinwalker Ranch. As much as I love studying Skinwalker Ranch, I mean, it's the real-life Twilight Zone on Earth. I don't want the whole phenomenon to reflect Skinwalker Ranch. But the negative stuff is out there, and you can't put blinders on. There are some researchers who only want to look at the positive and want to completely ignore the negative, even pretend it doesn't exist. Like Stephen Greer, he'll say, oh, there's no such thing as alien abductions. It's all people doing that. Well, that's nonsense. Of course, if you've studied alien abductions at all, and he should know better, but he has blinders on to the phenomenon. To the negative aspects of the phenomenon. And I don't think that's healthy, and we're not going to get anywhere putting blinders on. So we need to be aware of the negative, but I encourage you not to seek it out because it's there. Seek out the positive aspects because it is very much there as well. I realize now I probably should have put a woo-woo warning on this video, but it says paranormal in the title, so, hopefully that was enough. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Give this video a big thumbs up if you got something out of it. I would really appreciate it. Smash that subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. I would really appreciate that too. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Join me on social media and check out some of my other videos. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road signing out.